Hi, my name is Freddy Khoueiry. I'm RANE's global security analyst for the Middle East. And here's our quick take on the trajectory of the conflict between Hezbollah and Israel. We've recently received many inquiries from our clients on the escalation between Hezbollah and Israel, which is part of the broader regional war between Iran, Israel, and the United States. And one of the most important questions we're being asked is, first of all, what's actually happening right now between Israel and Hezbollah? And so right now, what we're seeing is a clear escalation into a new phase of the war, essentially a war of attrition, another war of attrition in the Middle East. Israel has already launched ground operations in southern Lebanon and is preparing for more expanded operations in the coming weeks. And essentially, Lebanon is no longer a secondary front in the broader regional context, but has become separate from Israeli perspective, at least from the war with Iran. And the key thing here is for Israel, this is no longer about containing the threat of Hezbollah. It's about shaping the end game. Israel is pushing forward militarily. Hezbollah is responding, and both sides are operating under the assumption that the force and battlefield will determine the outcome, not diplomacy, at least for now. And against that backdrop, we've also been asked, what about the negotiations? Are there negotiations? Do they actually matter? Well, there is a diplomatic push, which is mainly led by France, to bring Israel and Lebanon into direct negotiations, which would be actually quite significant, especially historically. But in reality, the chances of these talks leading to a meaningful deal right now are very low. Why? Because the two sides are entering talks from completely different positions. Lebanon is trying to stop the damage economically, politically, and territorially, even. Israel, meanwhile, is trying to maximize its gains while Hezbollah is under pressure from every side, basically. So even if talks happen, and they probably will at some point, they're not going to happen because the war is ending. They're going to happen while the war is ongoing. And so this gets us to one other question we're being asked is, what does each side actually want this time? Essentially, Israel's objective right now is to fundamentally change the security reality in Lebanon and on its northern borders. That means degrading Hezbollah's military infrastructure as much as possible, potentially forcing eventually some form of disarmament, and if not, at a minimum, imposing new border arrangements like occupying an expanded buffer zone or stronger enforcement mechanisms. From Israel's perspective, this is rare window of opportunity, and they're unlikely to stop before extracting as much as they can. Hezbollah, on the other hand, is not trying to win in a traditional sense. Its goal, just like Iran, is to survive and maintain its relevance, especially when it comes to Lebanon's political scene. So what it's doing is trying to increase the cost of the war with Israel through rockets, drones, attritional tactics on the ground, to the point where Israel is forced to make some concessions, even if only minor. And most importantly, Hezbollah needs, at the end of the day, to be able to say, "We resisted again. We didn't collapse," because that's what it hopes will preserve its position internally and maybe even regionally. And so the last question we're being asked is, what is the trajectory, and most importantly, in the short term? So basically, in the coming weeks, I would say the most likely scenario is further escalation and not de-escalation. Even if negotiations move forward, they're unlikely to resolve the core issues, which means fighting will likely continue and even potentially intensify. Israel is interested in negotiations with Lebanon, given that it's a symbolic victory, but will only do so under fire, meaning it will keep pushing militarily to improve its negotiating position. Hezbollah will do so at the same time. It will keep trying to drag the conflict out and raise the costs for the Israelis. And as long as both sides believe they can get a better outcome through force and the battlefield, diplomacy is going to remain secondary. So overall, what we're looking is not a quick resolution, but a more prolonged, more intense phase of the conflict in the coming weeks, with negotiations happening in the background, not leading the process.